baby. Hate it or love it, the underdogs are on top.
Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the director. Chargers fans, oh my God. What a game we witnessed yesterday. The Chargers versus Browns. I think I'm going to title this video, The Spark of a Dynasty. This may have been one of the best games we will see this year, which is really saying something, especially for the Chargers. Saying something because of our wins versus Kansas City, Las Vegas. Everything's been absolutely crazy this year. As a Chargers fan, I just kind of have to sit back and be like, is this real life? Like, is this really happening? I don't know, man. I think us as Chargers fans are trained to prepare for the worst in every close game. But I think in this game in particular, and honestly with Kansas City and Vegas as well, the Chargers are proving that they have turned a corner. Behind Herbert and Brandon Staley, this team could be anyone in the NFL, and I'm truly starting to believe that. I'm an optimistic person, right? I like to think the best of everybody, and I like to hope the best out of my NFL football team. One of my biggest passions in life, right? But honestly, this season, the instillment of hope that I'm seeing, not in just myself, but into the entirety of the Chargers fandom, has been very inspiring. And this is one of those narratives that chalks up, that sort of hope to the fans and honestly to its players and everybody else in the NFL. Very, very exciting stuff that we've seen this week. What a week for Justin Herbert, too, man. I think we truly do have an MVP candidate on this team in Justin Herbert. Last I saw, he was tied with Kyler Murray as far as odds to make MVP this season. Absolutely insane. And he's on our team. What a steal by the Chargers in 2020 last season. I know we hear a lot about Dolphins fans, moaning and groaning that they didn't get Justin Herbert. It is what it is, and the Chargers very blessed to have him on the squad. So before we do get started with this video, guys, question for you in the comments. After adjusting for the first 5 weeks that we've seen in the game so far, the first 5 spectacular weeks for the Chargers, what is your end-of-year record prediction, given the Chargers are now 4-1? Mine have climbed to 13-4 for the remainder of the year. I think I chalked us up at 11-6 to start the season. Remember, there's now 17 games in the year. I think 13-4 is where I feel very comfortable. And honestly, if the Chargers march into Baltimore and take care of business there next week, easily a 14-3 team. How crazy is this, Chargers fans? The times we're living in. And honestly, the Chargers at this point, I think it's very realistic to say, are now Super Bowl hopefuls. Oh, what was the last season that we felt like this, Chargers fans? It's been a long time. Soak it in. Before we do get started with this video and breaking down this epic matchup versus the Chargers and Browns, one of the best games, the best game of last week, and one of the best games of the season. Before we do get started with that, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. The Chargers versus Browns post-game report. Spark of a Dynasty? Question mark. Who knows? Honestly, guys, you know my background as far as a YouTuber. I started off in Madden, and honestly, this really felt like a game of Madden. No fourth downs, no punting. It's all offense. Tons of points scored on the board. And honestly, it offers a very fun spectacle for its fans and everyone that witnessed that game. Everybody out, even outside Chargers fandom, guys. I know a lot of people on this channel are Chargers fans, but even outside of that, the hype and the anticipation for the Chargers making the playoffs, maybe even the Super Bowl, is very much so alive inside the NFL world. We're finally starting to get some NFL access coverage on NFL Network and all that kind of stuff. People are starting to say really good things about the Chargers, and honestly, it's been hard fought and hard earned. Let's start here with a quick stat check like we do every single week. We're going to go over some of the things that definitely catch our eye as far as the numbers, and then go deeper into these specific narratives with these players. Baker Mayfield. Now, in defense of the Browns, okay, a lot of people throwing shade at Baker Mayfield for losing this game. Honestly, the numbers don't tell me that at all. 305 and 2 touchdowns. Game script kind of got away from him at the end of the game. He played pretty good, but it's very obvious that Justin Herbert played a lot better. Almost 400 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, and then you tack on another 30 and a touchdown on the ground. Yes, Justin Herbert had himself a day. Honestly, an MVP caliber kind of a day, and the Chargers truly understand what they have in Justin Herbert, and these numbers are starting to speak that. More on that in just a moment. Now, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. A combined 230 yards for the Browns on the ground. That's something that we're going to talk a lot about when dissecting the Chargers defense, and 3 touchdowns. Definitely kind of a crazy day. And then Austin Eckler, I do want to point out here too, 17 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he added another touchdown and 53 yards through the air. Very, very nice. Mike Williams had another monster day, emerging as one of the biggest threats in the league at wide receiver. And then Njoku for the Browns having a very decent day as well. As far as the Chargers defense, we'll go over that in just a moment. So normally I like to build things up in these videos, right? Let's start with the cool things, but leave the big, crescendo finale for the end. Not this time, baby. We're going to actually start here with the elephant in the room of Justin Herbert. The highlight of this win. Holy cow, man. Chargers fans, we got ourselves a quarterback, a great personality, extremely talented individual in the NFL, and honestly, somebody that emerged, I would say from the opinion of a lackluster career. I don't know, like a lot of people weren't super hyped on Justin Herbert, not myself included, when he was drafted. We were hopeful and we were optimistic, but we did not expect what has been happening with Justin Herbert in the course of his first 2 seasons. He's been absolutely spectacular. 427 total yards, 5 touchdowns. Herbert made it happen. And last week, like I said, we'd need to give him the keys to this offense to win. Now, a lot of that falls in the shoulders of Brandon Staley and the offensive coordinators to make that happen. You have to understand we got in Justin Herbert to truly unleash him, and they did that this week. Justin Herbert, when there was a first down that needed to be had, on 4th and long or 4th and short, he made it happen. When we needed a touchdown like we're seeing in this photo right here, he runs it in himself. He made it happen. I remember on that drive, I was saying, I don't know what's up. I think I'm feeling a Justin Herbert touchdown on the ground right now, and lo and behold, it did happen. Very, very cool. And a big stat that not a lot of people are bringing up right now that I do need to bring up is 0 turnovers. He is now 13 touchdowns to 3 interceptions this season, and he has not thrown a pick since week 2. Those 3 picks came in his first 2 weeks. He's shaking off the rust. He's back in form, and the dude's absolutely lighting the league on fire. Also, there was a stat I think that he reached as far as a record this week. And a couple of them, I have to say. He did pass Mahomes for the most 300-yard games in his first 2 seasons. He's absolutely spectacular, Chargers fans. He is the real deal. And every week that Justin Herbert puts up another spectacular performance, people are starting to believe in Justin Herbert and what he means to this team and what he means to the NFL. He is now 1,000. Let's actually take a look at the stats. 1,576 yards on the season with 13 touchdowns. Absolutely fantastic. A lot of people always ask me what he's on pace for. He's on pace right now for over 5,000 yards and over 45 touchdowns. Absolutely insane what we've got in this kid. His competition has been stiff this season as well. I think that's what people are saying as far as drawing a line in the sand between Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert. It's been the strength of schedule, right? And it's not easy for any NFL team to go up against another NFL team, but Justin Herbert's really been going up against some of the best. Washington's defense is very, very talented. Dallas, one of the biggest powerhouse offenses in the league. Of course, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the Vegas Raiders, who were on fire early in the season, and now the Cleveland Browns, who have one of the, I would say, the best rushing attack in the league and one of the best defenses in the league. Justin Herbert, despite all of that, is on pace for 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. Really crazy considering his early schedule as far as his strength of schedule in the early part of the season. As well, Herbert has proved to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. I know some people are going to pause me like, what are you talking about, director? Some people may be coming in here from the Browns fandom, or maybe even outside the Chargers and Browns fandom, just curious about this epic win that the Chargers had this weekend. They hear the director say, top 5 quarterback, are you crazy? I don't know, man. I'm starting to hear opinions everywhere. I'm not, we have biased eyeglasses or whatever you want to call us Chargers fans, but I'm starting to hear opinions outside of the Chargers fandom, considering Justin Herbert a top 5 quarterback. I truly believe that. Of course, as a Chargers fan, I'm going to believe that. But people, what I'm hearing outside, most people only see Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Mahomes ahead of a Justin Herbert, which puts him in the top 5. But in my opinion, with Wilson now injured and Mahomes falling down boards, because honestly, the Kansas City Chiefs have not looked the same this season, I think Justin Herbert is entering the conversation for top 3. I truly believe that, man. I've been hearing stuff all weekend, like, if you were redrafting the league today, who would you take number 1? A lot of people, I think it was John Johnson that said he would be taking Justin Herbert number 1. A lot of people saying, I think it's time to start admitting that Justin Herbert is becoming better than Patrick Mahomes. This is our reality, Chargers fans, and it's one that we need to relish in, because the Chargers are certainly turning a corner as far as their identity, led by Justin Herbert and this coaching staff. Great segue right here, this coaching staff. Brandon Staley. This coach, this man, has balls of steel. One of the biggest reasons we won this game is because we didn't lay down. We didn't start playing conservative. We had to fight for every yard. We had to fight for every score. And it was because of Brandon Staley and his understanding of the game of football that the Chargers were able to accomplish this, along with their epic pieces on offense and defense, and Justin Herbert and Derwin James, et cetera, et cetera. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard this entire season from Brandon Staley, and it kind of says a lot because there's a lot of really good quotes from this man, is play aggressive but not reckless. Aggressive but not reckless. And that to me shows an understanding of the game at a deeper level. What is worth the pro and con, the risk and reward of every decision as a coach? He's making them appropriately. Because according to Staley, third down is really second down in a lot of situations, which it really is. Most coaches will fold in a lot of situations on fourth down. They will fold. But you can just kind of see Brandon Staley working it out through his mind like the Matrix, like the chosen one in the Matrix. Is it worth it to go for it in this particular drive? Is it worth to go for it in this particular situation? And honestly, he understands when he does need to go for it, how to make it happen. The Chargers have converted 7 out of 8 fourth down attempts in 2021 so far. 7 out of 8. This is starting to look like a signature trait for Brandon Staley. He understands when not to relinquish possession. He understands risk and reward, and he has the courage to back it up. The Chargers not only have a special one at quarterback, they've got a special one at head coach too. Take a look at this man, dude. There's been a culture change instilled in the Chargers since Brandon Staley stepped foot into the facility. And honestly, it's starting to show in our game script. It's starting to show in our winnability and our ability to win games, especially close games. These are games that the Chargers would have lost last season. And I think due to the fact of the chemistry between Staley and Herbert and this team and the understanding of this new culture, we've been able to actually close these things out. And because of that, I do truly think that Coach Staley is leading the pack for Coach of the Year right now. First year head coach, and he is 4-1 right now, baby. We got a good one in Brandon Staley. Next up, let's talk a little bit about this man, Austin Ekeler. Undrafted Austin Ekeler. Some would say the fantasy king. A lot of people very excited to see them on their squads. The Chargers fans in particular, excited to see them on our real-life football team. I feel like the definition of bell cow has been skewed in the favor of players like Austin Ekeler, maybe even a Christian McCaffrey, right? They don't need to be a bruiser to have a big impact on this team. Because Ekeler is seeing McCaffrey type of usage under Coach Staley and Joe Lombardi. He's making these big impacts in the game and truly is one of the biggest chess pieces on this team. 113 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 17 carries with 5 receptions. Austin Ekeler made it happen. And I feel like Austin Ekeler is the kind of chess piece that Lombardi and Staley love. He's very versatile. You can use him through the pass. You can line him up in the slot, outside, hand off the ball, whatever. He's going to get it done. And the kind of runs that I saw versus the Browns defense with the Malik Jackson, Malik Dowell, with Garrett, with I think Takaris McKinley was playing that game too. Austin Ekeler had a crazy good performance versus them as well. Of course, that one touchdown when he got carried into the end zone was pretty crazy. Even with that being said, Austin Ekeler had himself a day. And I think it's very evident who the Chargers' featured running back is. Some people were like, maybe he's just our receiving back. He's just, our specialty kind of guy or gadget player. No, he is our running back one. And he's going to carry the Chargers as far as he can this season. He's a very good player to have on your team. Speaking of the offense, let's talk about number 81, right? Lots of people getting excited to hear about 81 every single week. I think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are one of, if not the best duo in the NFL at wide receiver. Mike Williams had another monster day. 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was able to exploit poor coverage over top, and he's starting to grow as a route runner. We're starting to see him get open. We're starting to see him utilized more than just a jump ball receiver. He's everywhere. And a big reason why the Chargers won this game this week, too. I remember at one point that he got, I think, a little bit banged up on the sideline. We're all like, oh, no, Mike Williams, we need him. We need him this game. We need him right now. Looks like he kind of rolled his ankle just a little bit. And on that very next play, I was like, keep an eye out for Mike Williams. We hope to see him return in a second. And that was his touchdown. The next time I saw Mike Williams was in that very same play, butt naked, out in the open, picking up a touchdown from Justin Herbert and giving the Chargers a fighting chance. I think at that point we were down a couple of scores. And Mike Williams brings the Chargers back into play. Great player that we have on this team, man. Some will say that Williams has surpassed Keenan Allen. I have to say this because a lot of people bring it up every week. And I don't like talking about it because it does seem a little disrespectful to Keenan Allen. The man has been, a staple in this offense for very many years. But I do understand where that argument is sort of coming from. But like I've stated before, I actually did a whole video on this. I see them more as a 1A, 1B kind of tandem for the Chargers. Because Williams is really, truly breaking out this season. And Keenan Allen, the same talent as always, is contributing as well. Be it maybe with a little bit of a hiccup this season. But yes, I can understand the argument, that Williams is making a compelling argument for 1A at this point. But still, I see him as 1A, 1B. Because yes, Keenan Allen is having a shaky start to the season. He made really big plays when it mattered most, though, and I think that's why Chargers fans cannot give up on Keenan Allen. He's one of the best in the league. He still is. He's got some stuff to sort out this season, but he truly still is one of the best route runners in the league, one of the best wide receivers in the league. He converted a bunch of huge first downs for the Chargers. One that likely helped the Chargers win the game. Pretty sure was like a 4th and long. Very, very big plays for him. Still 6 for 65. He's looking fine. Just needs to clean up those drops a little bit. One of those drops I do not put on him at all either. He got walloped, by the defender. I think it was Greedy Williams. Now, lastly, with the receivers. The tight ends emerge again. Donald Parham scores another touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And Jared Cook makes a huge play for a first down late in the game to help the Chargers clutch the win. Very, very big plays by the tight ends, and I love seeing the tight ends become more involved on this offense on a week-to-week basis. There's your receivers. There's the offense, baby. Now let's get on to the defense here, okay? We're going to start with the good, because I know there's a lot of Chargers fans that want to know my take as far as what the Chargers can work on defense, which we certainly have a lot of areas to improve. But let's start with the good. Derwin James had a great day. 17 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss. He was everywhere. What we saw with Brandon Staley last season with the Rams and Jalen Ramsey, we're seeing this season with Derwin James. Some people would say maybe even a more improved version of what we saw with Jalen Ramsey last season, because Derwin James, so versatile, bigger body, plays very well in the box, underneath, as a rusher, even at cornerback if he has to, and then, of course, safety, his natural position. He was everywhere, and he had another great day. 17 tackles, tackle for loss, and a sack. Absolutely fantastic day for him. Drew Tranquill also had a solid day, logging 11 tackles and a tackle for loss before suffering an injury. We'll have to get an update on that as we hear more. As well as Bosa. Bosa was everywhere. If it weren't for a few bad non-holding calls, I should say, a few lack of throwing flags for the Browns holding on Joey Bosa, he logs at least 1 sack this week, I would say. He was very good, generating a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield, and I think that came up very clutch at the later part of the game. Okay? Now let's get into some of the stuff the Chargers can improve on, okay? This will be a shorter segment of the video. I think it's very apparent what the Chargers can improve on. But before we really get into that, I do want to bring up one play. One play that's being brought up a lot to me as a Chargers fan. The Browns fans have been talking a lot about this too. There was a holding call, right? A holding call, or pass interference, I should say, against the Browns defense. And there's an image going around. I'm not even going to show it on the video. It's an image going around of Mike Williams grabbing on the jersey of his defender. Now, what's interesting is that if you rewind literally like maybe half a second before that, you definitely see the defender grabbing all over Mike Williams' jersey too. And in my opinion, because we got to be real around here, that was probably a good no call, right? That was probably a situation where you don't want to call it because they were both fighting and contesting for the ball. So in that instance, yes, the Chargers fans, we did get lucky with that call a little bit, but there was enough to call it either way. It just tilted for the first time in a long time in the favor of the Chargers. That was one big one, okay? So yes, Browns fans, if you wanted to hear that, there it is. Unfortunate for you, but it is callable. It was certainly callable. It just did not tilt in your favor. Now let's talk about the Chargers defense, okay? The Chargers defense is on the bad part of it, okay? This will be, again, a kind of a quick segment here. This is a feel-good video, but we have to point out the run defense for the Chargers. The Browns totaled 230 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. Yikes. Big yikes. It's no secret. It's no secret that the Chargers are struggling in a run defense. It's no secret that that's the way to attack the Chargers defense if you want to put, generate yards and maybe even points. But that was a lot. 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. That was a lot. Majority of those yards, of course, coming in from Nick Chubb, who is very, very talented, and then Kareem Hunt with those 2 scores as well. Very, very talented backfield for this team. Holy crap. I would say, again, I've said this a lot. They're my favorite tandem as far as running back in the league right now. But luckily for the Chargers, we're not going to face another rushing attack like this again this year, be it unless we do play against the Browns in the playoffs, which is a strong possibility. But this is it, Bolt fam. This was the biggest test for the Chargers against the run defense. Of course, they got a lot of stuff they still got to sort out, but despite that, the Chargers were able to find a way to win. And I think it was through game scripts. The Chargers had to find a way to get that lead and then prevent the Browns from relying on the run so much. And I think it really did come down to that. Another big thing I think the Chargers need to work on is tackling. Many of these big chunk plays certainly came, and scoring plays, were due to bad tackling. Adderley, I will actually have to point out in this one, couldn't stop David Njoku, their tight end, for a huge 71-yard touchdown. He was the only one back there. And honestly, this here Adderley isn't the biggest dude, and David Njoku is a very, very big human being. So you can't dock him too hard, but he's got to make that tackle. I think he tried to lead with his shoulder. He should have tackled him. What did we learn, guys, in grade school? You got to tackle low on those big guys. And honestly, he just wasn't able to make the play, and that's something that we got to keep our eye on, okay? Chubb also broke more tackles than I have fingers, and the Browns totaled over 500 yards on offense. So Chargers got to work on their tackling a little bit, okay? Definitely work on their tackling a little bit. And of course, Chargers fans want to hear my thoughts on this man really quick too. Tristan Vizcaino could have lost the game for the Chargers, only hitting 3 out of 5 extra points, one very late in the game that honestly did tilt how we had to close this game out. And you saw the Chargers making a lot of decisions based on their lack of confidence in Tristan Vizcaino this week. So it does tell me the Chargers need to make some moves pretty soon to address this. Okay, so I'm not going to say what we should do or if there's anybody out there in specific that we should go grab, but there are problems when it comes to the Chargers kicking game as of right now. The last thing I'll bring up here are the injuries. Tranquil and Odeabushi are down for now. What now? What did the Chargers do? We do not know. We'll keep you guys posted on that as we get more news. Okay? So the bottom line in this week's epic win, one of the best games we'll see in a while, one of the best games we've seen this season so far, regardless of team, is that this is a new Chargers era that likely spells a deep playoff run this year, which spells huge dividends for Brandon Staley, Justin Herbert, second-year quarterback, and the rest of this team. Speaking of Justin Herbert, we have a quarterback, and he's special. MVP candidate right there. And this was the perfect hiring at coach for the Chargers with Brandon Staley. It's all coming together, Chargers fans. If the Bolts can go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens next week, I think this opinion of the Chargers being one of the best in the NFL should be solidified. If we beat the Ravens, we should likely be regarded as the best team in the AFC and the team to beat. And it's becoming a reality every single week the more we see of Brandon Staley, Justin Herbert, and this defense execute. Very exciting times we live in, Chargers fans. Well, guys, this is going to do it for my video this week. If you did enjoy what you saw, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. Put some of your favorite moments from the game in the comments below. Very excited for us to start covering the new game coming up here on Sunday versus the Baltimore Ravens. Should be a really good one. This has been The Director, guys. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty.